What is going on, guys? Mobile Carrier News here. Now, this article is going to be a longer video because I have a lot to talk about. With this article, I will leave a link below in the description. Tower companies, basically all three carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and not only that, but also Crown Castle, American Tower, and CB Communications are all saying the same thing. 5G is at a slowdown. Now, this is honestly 100% true because we're, I believe, at the second quarter, and all three carriers are experiencing a slowdown, not only with the 5G, with the pops, with the upgrades, but also the consumer. That's another thing that they have to watch out for. That's why I think this price increase is getting out of hand for Verizon and AT&T. I mean, like they're still making profit with the business model and everything's looking good, but the increases, on the old plans, that's a little tricky. And technically T-Mobile is the most expensive, but their perks work really well. Now, as for the 5G side, the slowdown is, it's getting, it's going down, at the start because technically a year ago, 2022, all three carriers actually predicted, actually not even predict, they announced that by mid 2023 summer and I think early fall, they would experience a slowdown in 5G. And to be honest, that's actually really true. And as you can read in the article here, it's been a decline for Q2 since the more than 50%, which is insane. But this is not all really bad news for the carriers because technically the slowdown it's only like a temporary thing. This slowdown might go over by like December of 2023, but by the time January 2024 starts, a fresh new year, 12 brand new 12 months, I think it's going to pick up again because I mean, all carriers are still upgrading the network. Verizon by next year is going to be 200 million pops. Um, by next year, Verizon is going to hit, I think, 240, and T-Mobile by 300 million pops. So it only makes sense for all the three carriers to continue, but go on a massive upgrade spree, whatever they can upgrade because they have the capex, they have the debt, and they're basically making money on a daily basis to do these upgrades. And as you can see here, American Tower also said activity level slowed in Q2, which is true actually. Then reduced its expectations for service revenue in 2023 by about 40 billion. So that's pretty much what's going on here. And I looked at the company SBA Communications. It's basically another communications company that basically works with the carriers, and the president and CEO Jeffrey Stutz, I think Stoops or Stops, saw the same slowdown activity as the others. As I'm saying, and but there is good news. They're trying to make leasing contracts with AT&T, and basically with all the three carriers, they've been trying to do this for quite some time now. And that's actually good for the carriers. Scroll down here for Q2. SBA recorded a net profit of 202 million. Site leasing revenue with 262.1 billion, representing a 7.9 growth over the prior year. So that's actually really good. Making more contracts, site leasing, getting a network up to speed. Even though right now it is slow down, we're actually starting to pick up pace by the time next year comes. Because the last thing you want to do is just keep going on a slowdown. You got to keep moving to the upgrades. You got to keep improving the revenue, the tower, the cash flow, the what does that say? The EBITDA, and just keep going for the network because the carriers, even though they're not suffering, they're slowing down. Eventually this has to pick up by next year. And all three carriers, they're still investing billions of dollars. Like it's going to take some time for this. Now, if you scroll down here, it says like some of his peers, Stubbs emphasized that variations on U.S. 5G builds are part of our normal cycle of carrier network investment. So basically, this is like normal. There's every 10 years when there's a new generation, 6G, 7G, 8G, 9G, 10G. I'm getting way ahead of myself on this one. There's always going to be a slowdown in the middle of, actually not the middle of the year. Every like 3 years, there's going to be a slowdown because the companies have their capex, they have their investments, they have debt that they pay off, so they have to make sure this return on investment for their 5G actually works out. So not only can they make profit, but they got to pay back the debt. So we got to keep that in mind. It's always network, profit, and then debt. That's pretty much what it's going for. And right now, the networks are doing pretty good for themselves. I wouldn't say they're doing too bad. They're all separate apart from each pop, but that technically doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, they're trying to improve their 5G to the greatest they can do, and that's honestly going to take some time. We're barely in 2023. We're in the third year of 2020, and it's going to take some time for like every carrier to see an improvement because a lot of people are saying I've noticed in the comments on my videos that people say, "Oh, there's no coverage here in some parts of Memphis. Tennessee is dead zone. Nevada, um, Oklahoma barely has LTE." And I understand that, but it's going to take some time for the networks to actually go through every one of them. Personally, the pops do matter, but not on a nationwide scale. Basically, like it's gonna take like even if T-Mobile reaches 300 million pops, they just have to keep on going, improving every area. The whole half of Rhode Island could be covered, but South or North Dakota could just be dead zone and have no 5G. So that's gonna take some time for T-Mobile and AT&T and Verizon to keep not only get those pops covered, but it's gonna take them quite some time. Like we have to honestly wait by 2025, 2026, 3 more years, technically, we should see almost half of the country covered, and that's going to be really good. Like there's going to be a lot of usage, and I've noticed a lot of people are going crazy on the usage, not only for 5G like mobile devices, but also for home internet. And that's what basically the carriers did. They actually focused on cities where the NFL happened, and then after that, and they started expanding to suburban and rural, as you can see here in the article. And that's what they technically did in 2020. Is when 5G technically got like introduced for a little bit, they decided to go full throttle on the NFL cities and then expand suburb and rural. And that's pretty much what their plan has been for quite some time now. So if you scroll down here, this is T-Mobile's Q2 conference that T-Mobile was able to reach 100 million pops target with the previous of 200 million, and that basically happened because of the Sprint merger. If the Sprint merger never happened, T-Mobile would be technically in the same position as Verizon and AT&T. Basically, what I'm saying is their 5G expansion would be like kind of slow. They might be at like 210 pops, Verizon at 230. It would have been slow for them as well, but because of the Sprint merger, they got a really head start. I believe 2 year head start, which is really good. And not only did they get their low band up to par like crazy, they got their mid band and millimeter wave going at it like full throttle. And it says here that they're currently at 285 million pops, and they're gonna hit 300 million at the end of the year. So that's really good. But I really think T-Mobile needs to keep on going, keep on improving the network, maybe go to like 320 million pops. But that's gonna take some time. And as it says here, it actually gets harder and harder to reach the pops. Even as Verizon, it's pretty even as Verizon, shocker, they have the most money on their 5G. They're investing, I think, maybe 30, 40, 50 billion dollars a year, but that still takes some time. Like every day the engineers work on the site, they have to make sure the equipment is set up, they have to tear and replace, put new sites, new macros, new small cells, new forms of C-band. If some form of C-band's cleared, they have to they have to basically test the network. If they have to do a complete tear and shred and replace it with new equipment, that's going to take some time. It's not going to take like a day or two. It's going to take quite a bit of time for that. It could take like maybe a week or two, and even if they set it up, they had to test it. They have to make sure it's performing well. They have to make sure if they go like 1 mile away, how's the connection? does the connection die, it takes quite some time for these pops and all these upgrades to go through. It honestly takes quite a while for this. Now, if we scroll down here, it says here Dish has yet to complete its reaches. It's 5G. It's going to take them to 2025. Even Dish is like just, I wouldn't say Dish is struggling, but because Dish was basically the last company to be included as the fourth major carrier, it's going to take them some time too. Even at 2025, they're basically relating to Verizon, where not only the Verizon's going to take them to 2025, Verizon's going to be up to par with T-Mobile speeds. Like everywhere I go in 2025 now, I'm going to be getting 500 to a gig down, and if Verizon's low band is as good, I'm gonna be getting 300 down. I don't know how good the low band will be for Verizon, but Dish is gonna experience the same thing. It's gonna take quite some time, and what's I find unfortunate is T-Mobile hasn't even gotten its as you can see in the article, its C-band of 3.5 gigahertz deployed, and that has to be on a hold, unfortunately. So basically, the article explains a lot about how the carriers are doing this, what's going on, why the slowdown is happening, and it makes sense, honestly. I'm curious to see how January will be, because January is going to be an interesting year where not only are we're not technically halfway, but we're going to be further away to reaching almost 3 million pops for T-Mobile, and then eventually for Verizon, and then eventually for AT&T. I think personally by let's see if AT&T is going to hit 200 million pops by this year, I think by 2025 summer, AT&T should see massive speeds and upgrades, and I think AT&T is going to be up to par with the other two carriers. And I'm excited to see what all their speeds will be. By that time, I should have all three carriers. I'll be testing all carriers, all the networks, different locations. I'll make sure, like, I have the closest site tower. If it's like 5 miles away, I'll test it out. But I'm curious to see about this. Let me know what you guys think about this. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.